Welcome to the City of Bakersfield Planning Commission meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. The agenda for this meeting can be downloaded at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, Chair Daniel Cater.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to call to order the December 1st, 2022 Planning Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chair Cater,
Here.
Vice Chair Bashir-Tash, Commissioner Biddle, Commissioner Coman,
Here.
Commissioner Lomas,
Here.
Commissioner Neal,
Here.
Commissioner Wade.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for attending tonight's Planning Commission meeting. This commission provides an opportunity for public participation in the development process throughout the City of Bakersfield. The Planning Commission considers a wide variety of projects, including subdivision maps, zone changes, general plan amendments, and much more. When applications are received, the City Planning Division analyzes the request. Planning staff will present the fact about the projects along with their recommendation to the Planning Commission, who will approve the item or make a recommendation as appropriate. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 3A, Public Statements.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission regarding items listed on tonight's agenda? If you are here for non-consent public hearing items 6A through 6C, this is not the time to speak. You will be given an opportunity to speak when those items are later called in the meeting. Seeing no speakers on item 3A, does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission regarding items not listed on tonight's agenda? If so, please step forward and state your name. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda Item 4, Consent Calendar Items.
Please note all items listed under the consent items do not require a public hearing and will be enacted by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of said items unless a staff member or a commissioner requests specific items be discussed and or removed for separate action. May I get a motion to adopt the consent items?
So moved.
Commissioner Wade, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Lomas. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Vice Chair Bashir-Tash and Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda Item 5, Consent Public Hearings.
Now is the time for consent public hearings. Please note if an item is not removed by a commissioner, staff, or a member of the public, the commission will vote on all items in one motion without further comment. If an item is removed, it will be placed at the end of the non-consent public hearing items. At this time, I will open all of the consent public hearing items. Does any member of the public wish to remove a consent public hearing item? If so, please come forward and state your name. All right. Seeing no members of the public, does any commissioner or staff wish to remove a consent public hearing item?
Chair Cater, I'd just like to note for the record that items 5E and 5F, or excuse me, 5D and 5E are being continued to December 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Seeing no additional requests for commissioners or staff for the removal of a consent public hearing item, At this time, the consent public hearing items 5A through 5C and 5F through 5G are now closed. May I get a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the consent public hearing items not removed, incorporating all staff memorandum and revised staff recommendation?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Coman. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Lomas. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Vice Chair Bashir Tash and Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 6, non-consent public hearings.
Now is the time for non-consent public hearing items. Before we begin, I want to explain how each hearing will be conducted. Staff will first give a report, then those in favor of the project will be allowed to speak. Those in opposition to the project will be able to speak after all of those in favor have spoken. Each side will be given a 5-minute total time to provide rebuttal comments. Individual speakers may ask questions during their statements, but the questions will not be answered until the public hearing on that item is closed. Written comments may be given to the clerk, who will provide copies to the commission. Please be respectful of others participating in the hearing by not repeating the remarks of previous speakers and presenting any new comments or thoughts in a clear and concise way. Mr. Johnson, would you please provide your staff report?
Yes, thank you. Our first item, 6A, is an extension of time for revised vesting tentative track map 6617. This map is located near Brim Hall and Coffee Road, otherwise known as the Bakersfield Commons. There's various zoning on site: single family, multifamily at various densities, commercial, industrial, and open space. The entire site is approximately 250 acres, consisting of 59 lots. The map and the zoning was initially intended for what was called, again, Bakersfield Commons, which was a lifestyle center, which consisted of residential, retail, office, medical, hotel, industrial, parks, and various entertainment. Quickly on the background, the original map for this was approved in September 2011. In December of 2016, your commission approved a revised vesting tentative track map. In January 2020, you approved a 3-year extension, and they are asking for their final 3-year extension currently. And if approved, the map would then expire on December 1st, 2025. Staff's recommendation is to approve this extension of time. That completes staff's presentation.
Thank you. The public hearing on this item is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed.
Cater, members of the Planning Commission, thank you for the opportunity to provide you an update at Bakersfield Commons. My name's Dave Sears. I'm the project lead for Coffee Brim Hall, LLC, responsible for beginning productive development of the property in the coming years after what's been a frustrating delay. Tonight, we're asking for a 3-year extension of our vesting tentative track map. Put concisely, the pandemic was severely disruptive to our plans and expectations. Pandemic affected every aspect of our progress, from identifying capable development partners to extreme labor shortages, hyperinflated material pricing, a lack of commercial tenant demand, and left our well-crafted master plan with several product types that may have limited viability or require substantial redesign as we look forward. At the beginning of 2022, the ownership made a renewed commitment to adjust our master plan with the goal of beginning incremental phase development by mid-2023. We have invested considerable capital to reimagine the plan and are optimistic that we will hit our objectives. The plan retains many of the original elements, but will emphasize housing product to a greater degree. In conversation with the planning department, noting Bakersfield's RENA allocations and the inclusion of the property in the Bakersfield RISE initiative, identifying potential sites capable of contributing significant housing. We believe we are developing a plan that works in conjunction with many of these cities' objectives. We will be working closely with Mr. Johnson and Mr. Boyle through this process and look forward to presenting our progress over the coming years. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no additional speakers in favor of the project, we will now provide a time for anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the project. If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no speakers in opposition, at this time, I will ask if commissioners have any questions for the public or staff on this item. Remember, this is not the time to express an opinion on the matter, only to ask questions. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair Cater. My questions are for the developer. Is that Mr. Sears? Did I get that right? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming here tonight. We appreciate it. So you talked a little bit about redesign of that project. Is that going to require new maps, or is it something we're going to be able to do within the plan that we have?
We hope to do it within the plan we have. We're evaluating that as we move through the redesign process. But right now, we have every intent to stay within the existing map.
Did I understand you to say that you are hopeful that you're going to start moving dirt in 2023?
There are portions of the project that we feel confident we can move forward on in 2023, yes.
Because I think that's the single greatest question I get as a planning commissioner when I'm out in the community is what's going on with Bakersfield Commons.
Sure.
And so I always say I don't know. Because
Right.
we kind of thought, and I get it, the pandemic slowed everybody down, but you know, we don't know where we're at in this latest market. So
I actually believe it's a good time to go through the exercise we're going through now. As you know, housing is a difficult product as well as anything right now, but we believe there's an opportunity to deliver a real diverse, necessary housing stock to the center of Bakersfield in this location.
well, you talk about trying to help the city with the RHNA numbers, and we appreciate that. I don't think we're going to have any problem meeting our RHNA numbers for market rate housing. Where we're struggling is in the moderate and low income housing. Are you going to be able to help us in that regard at all?
It will all be under discussion, and we're just not far enough along.
Okay. One of the other things that I noted is that I go by that property every day, and there's always issues with the fencing around it and that kind of thing. And so if there's any way that you guys can, make sure that gets maintained a little nicer, I don't know. I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We'll look into it.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Are there any other commissioners wishing to provide comment or ask questions, not comments? All right. Seeing no additional questions, and as there were no speakers in opposition at this time, I will close the public hearing on the item and return it to the commission for comment and action. Commissioner Coleman, that was from before, right? Okay, my apologies. Yep. Commissioner Neal, are you? Oh, good. All right. Does any commissioner wish to provide a comment? No. Then if there are no comments, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve item 5A, the extension of time for item 6617.
It's item 6A.
I'm sorry?
Commissioner.
Item 6A,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Neal. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Vice Chair Bashir Tash and Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, I believe we have 2 additional hearings tonight.
That's correct. Item 6B is a new vesting tentative parcel map. The number is 12438. This is located near Hosking and Highway 99, and otherwise known as the Majestic Gateway Project. The zoning on this is exclusive commercial and light industrial. It's approximately 90 acres. They are requesting 17 parcels. One parcel will be 57 acres, which is the industrial site. One parcel will be a 4.5 acre sump, and that's a remaining 15 acres of commercial, ranging in size from 1.5 to 2 acres. You may recall that your commission considered this in October of this year, the general plan amendment zone change, and that was approved by City Council in November. And therefore, staff recommends approval of this vesting tentative parcel map. That completes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The public hearing on this item is now open. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed.
Good evening, Chair Cater, commissioners, staff. My name is Patricia Newquist. I'm with Cornerstone Engineering. Here tonight on behalf of the developer, Majestic Realty Company, and the owner, 4J's and an R LLC. They wish that they could have been here tonight, but separate plans took them in different directions. So we are here on behalf just to confirm that the project will comply and satisfy all of the conditions and mitigation measures of the Majestic Gateway project, being the general plan amendment, zone change, and environmental impact report. We thank the commissioners for your participation in providing comments and suggestions, which were promptly dealt with by the developer. We provided a rendering of the view from 99 looking east along the property. We broke up the warehouse wall facade elevations at intervals of 52 feet to satisfy those comments, and provided a landscape phasing plan with barrier for phase 1, aligning the trees along the perimeter, separating the warehouse from the commercial area. These items were provided to staff and approved by the City Council at the November 16th hearing. This project is a big win for the city. We appreciate your support. It's a quality project. Your comments enhanced it just a little bit more. And we're here to answer any questions if you have any and approve your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the project? If so, please come to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no additional speakers in favor, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no speakers in opposition, does any commissioner have any questions for the public or staff on this item? Please remember this is not the time to express opinions, only ask questions. Commissioner Coman.
Thank you, Chair Cater. This question is for staff. The developer just commented that they've already complied with the conditions that we placed on it. I know that I saw a pretty color rendering, but I never really saw any, scaled elevations or any of that kind of thing. Is it too early in the process for that, or what?
Those items that were submitted by the applicant were provided to council in their consideration. Obviously, it didn't have to come back to Planning Commission. I was not prepared with those slides. I'm not sure if the applicant has copies that they can present.
I don't think we need to bog it down. I'm not trying to bog the process down here. But you've seen those
That's correct.
changes and they've been approved by council?
That's correct,
All right.
yes.
Is it possible for you to share those via email with us later?
I absolutely will.
All right, well, at least with me anyway. I don't know about us. I say us, but,
I can share with all the commissioners.
all
yes.
right, well, thank you very much. That's all my
Without
questions.
violating the Brown Act. I will
All right,
note
well,
that.
thank you. So- All right, I don't have any further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. And Mr. Johnson, we look forward to individual emails with renderings. Thank you. Are there any other commissioner questions? I think that was a fake out. Sorry. All right. Seeing no additional commissioner questions, and as there was no opposition speakers, I will now close the hearing on this item and return to the commission for comment and action. Commissioners, are there any comments or action?
Is this motion time?
If there are no comments, I see no comments, so please
All right, let's do it.
proceed.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6B, vesting tentative map number 12438. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Neal. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Vice Chair Bashir Tash and Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Johnson, may you please provide your third and final public hearing for the evening?
Yes, this time I would like to invite Jose Fernandez. He's one of our associate planners. He'll give this presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Cater, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. My name is Jose Fernandez. I'm an Associate Planner with the Development Services Department. Today I'm here to present item 6C, which is a Plan Development Review 21-0350. The project is located on 9700 and 9850 Camino Media in West Bakersfield. The request is a planned unit development to allow development of a multifamily residential community in an R2/PUD limited multiple family dwelling / planned unit development zone. On April 20th, 2022, City Council approved General Plan Amendment and Zone Change 21-0302, which changed the project's site zoning from CO, Professional and Administrative Office, to R2/PUD, which is the current zoning. The applicant is requesting to develop a multifamily gated community of 155 dwelling units on approximately 11.22 acres. The proposal is consistent with the city's development standards, with the exception of 2 deviation requests. The first of which is to allow for varying landscape width of 10 to 17 feet along the arterial street frontage, where the requirement is a minimum of 15 feet. Staff recommends approval as it is consistent with the intent of the regulations of the landscape standards. The second request is to allow for 0 trees along the street frontage where the requirement is 1 tree per 20 lineal feet. Staff recommends denial of this deviation as there is insufficient justification to determine that there is a line of sight concern. Your commission has the following options as it relates to the proposal. The first of which is to approve as requested, which includes approval of the deviation requests. The second is to approve staff's recommendation, which is the approval of a deviation request regarding the landscape width, but denying the deviation request regarding the trees along the street frontage. And as you can see on the slideshow, this is the street view from both directions on Camino Media. The third option is to deny the project as requested. And your commission also has the option to continue the project to a date certain or refer the project back to staff if deemed necessary. In conclusion, staff recommends approval of the Plan Development Review 21-0350 as specified in this presentation. City staff and the applicant are available for any questions. That concludes staff's presentation of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, the public hearing is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed.
Honorable Chairpersons, members of the Commission, my name is Tom D. I'm representing the developer in this particular project, and I just wanted to provide additional information with regards to the trees. I mean, one of the things that we're looking at this project is a very kind of a high-end, very modern look. It's, you know, we've got kind of all high-end amenities, the club, the pool, the gym. We're trying to put a sky lounge in there. And a lot of what we're trying to do was to create kind of the scene out in the front, which was going to be with the guava type plants and a low hedge and the DG path type look in the front. And the reason why we did that is because it was our understanding that we couldn't put any trees in the line of sight area. So the line of sight, when you go out and you're looking down the street, it has a line of sight setback. So we kept it low there for that particular reason, and we kept it the same on the other side. We would like to go on record as saying we're more than happy to put some trees in there with, you know, working with the staff and coming up with something that would be amenable with Public Works and planning and our planners that would work with our project. But we're more than happy to go on record and take a modified condition that says we would go ahead and work with staff on what's needed to suffice the tree recommendations along that area. So having said that, I'm here to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the audience wishing to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no additional speakers in favor, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no speakers in opposition, does any commissioner have any questions for the public on this item or staff? Remember, this is not the time to express opinions on the matter, only to ask questions. Commissioner Wade?
Thank you, Chair Cater. Questions for staff. Just for the public record, who's the owner of the property?
I'll probably mispronounce the name, but it's Ron Takuchi.
Is it okay to?
Yes, please. I'd like the same question to you.
Yeah, Honorable Commissioner Wade. Ron was working with CRC when we were buying the property originally. We did the entitlements under the name of CRC, and Ron was with CRC. The actual owner is us. It's we call it Camino Media Properties LLC, which is one of our many projects out there. They all have different names. We're real particular. We name them like after the street, but but it's a family-owned operation with several communities out here in the area: the Retreat, the Reserve, Cambridge, Sycamore Creek Village. Those are all in the same ownerships of the folks that are representing this project right here. So,
thank you. That's helpful. I wanted to make sure, for the record, that we were clear. Then to staff, is there a problem with the tree line of sight on community media if they were to follow what's current standards?
There could be, and we would work with the Public Works on that. So, I mean, we tend to agree that 1 tree per 20 linear feet may not be appropriate for where there is a line of sight issue, but we believe the entire frontage is not a line of sight issue.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Wade. Commissioner Coleman?
Thank you, Chair Cater. I appreciate it. Am I having deja vu, or didn't we already do this with this project?
You previously considered a general plan amendment and zone change, and they had a proposed development at that time. However, that they withdrew that development in favor of this development.
Okay.
So you have not considered the actual development for
I
this site.
have to consider this one. All right.
Correct.
Good deal. All right. I have a little bit of experience with this particular parcel of land, so, and all those ugly eucalyptus trees on the corner. So that was actually supposed to be a eucalyptus forest because the landscape architect was from Ventura. And in the Sunset Garden book, if you open it up, it says that those will survive here, but they really won't. but as far as the project, we're not commenting, right? We're just asking questions?
Just question.
Just questions.
That was dangerously going into.
Yeah, I was getting there. Sorry about that. I guess my question was really with a deja vu question, so I think the rest of them are comments. So I'll save my
All right,
comments for the next section. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioner questions? I did have one, if no other commissioners. So my question was, I think Mr. Coleman alluded to it in his question-ish comment. If we can go to the current streetscape. It was a photograph. Sorry, that wasn't a very clear request. So there are currently what I would consider mature trees kind of dotting the street frontage along Camino Media. My understanding is our ordinance has some provision for the retention of existing trees, and if not, the replacement in kind. So is there a reason, is that the case?
Mature trees are not to be removed without the planning director's approval. If they are removed as part of the development, if they were to be removed, they should be replaced with at least a 48-inch box. However, I would note that these trees were installed what would appear to be without a project. So removal of these trees, I'll just say is your discretion. If you don't want them removed, we can have a condition that they remain. But these trees are not there based on an approved landscape plan.
Okay, thank you. I think that adjourns the question portion of my question. So seeing no opposition, I think I will move to, well, I don't think, I will move to close the public hearing and return it to the commission for comment and action. Commissioners, are there any comments? Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair Cater.
Of course.
So now I can talk, so thank you. It's nice to see a project going on in this area, and it's been a while since we've had that kind of housing built there, so I think everybody's looking forward to that. There's been a lot of emphasis on our landscape plan, and I think we've done a good job of, especially along Camino Media with the trees and that kind of thing. And so personally, I'm not in favor of eliminating the requirement for trees. I get it that we might have to make some adjustment to where those trees are placed. But I think that I would like to see see that whole landscape ordinance upheld, especially on that side of the street, because we've had a really good landscape plan on the south side of Camino Media, but it's been a little hit and miss on the north side of Camino Media. And so I think that what we do today for that lot sets the tone for the rest of the development along Camino Media. And I know you abut the state-owned land for the university on the east, and so we don't have any authority over them, but they typically follow along loosely with what the community is doing in the area. So I don't think I'm prepared to abandon our tree requirement. And I think that there's future development to the west of you along community media. And I think we need to set the tone at this time. So that's all my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Are there any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Lomas.
In the staff recommendation, does that give you the latitude that you need?
The conditions are currently written in a manner that would suffice. We could add a clarification to condition Bravo 5, B5, which would say, upon approval of the final landscape plan as approved by the planning director, a digital copy shall be submitted to the planning staff. We can add that, which would allow additional leeway. If not, obviously, we don't put trees in as a hazard, even though the development standard may call for it.
And you know, I never consider myself a tree hugger, but I do like our landscape plan. As Commissioner Coleman said so well, I completely agree with him. Trees give an aesthetic value that's important, that I think we need to not shy away from. But of course, we need some latitude. And that's why you're here, Paul. Mr. D, does that sound amicable to you? Yes. I would like to also try to address the existing trees, and I know, I mean, there may be some, is there latitude, or what can we do to ensure, if at all possible, save the trees that are there, but understood if it does need to come out because of line of sight or disease or that type of thing?
There's a standard condition right now, and again, this is part of B5 that says no mature landscaping shall be removed without prior approval from the planning director. So that would allow myself to provide some latitude as long as there's no line of sight issue or safety issue.
I think the trees are important, as well as a good landscape plan, and I appreciate that you want to try to do something different. Could you show me the landscape plan on the screen? Thank you. I noticed that that's just parking lot, and that's not going to be attractive, so it will need a good, nice landscape plan. Those are parking spaces, right? No? Those are buildings? Those are buildings. What was I looking at? It did. It looked like carports. I thought they were carports. Yeah, the one on the right side, I thought those were carports. Yeah. Anyway, I still like a good landscape plan, and totally support our ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lomas. Are there any other commissioner? Commissioner Neal?
Yeah, I live very close to here, and I'm excited to see this kind of development going in. There's a lot of single-family homes, and we have a couple of big apartment complexes, but these are kind of more like townhomes, and since that there's 2 levels and covered, garage parking for the tenants. So I'm always pro multifamily housing, so I'm excited to see this go in. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Neal. Are there any other commissioner comments? If not, I'll just provide a few quick comments and then ask for a motion. It's great to see, I think this area of town, if you could talk about one thing that it's deficient in, is a diversity of housing options. And so I think seeing new housing come to the market that's providing a different experience for people who need to be university adjacent, people that, whose lives are centered in this part of town. I think it's great to provide a new option. I do think, talking about the tree frontage, to me, looking at that photograph of the existing trees, I think those are some of the most hardy surviving trees in an empty lot in Bakersfield I have seen. And I think if they don't qualify as trying to keep them living, I don't think we have any concern for trees that exist in our community. So I would emphasize, I think, Mr. Johnson, you had said that there's a planning director note that has to be reviewed for your office, but I think you'd also mentioned it would be helpful to have the thoughts of the commission, and I would just advocate that those trees be worked to be retained unless they present a public hazard or contain some sort of beetle that will wreak havoc on the southwest part of Bakersfield. I think they've done pretty well on their own without any development around it, and I think that keeping them and that character of that portion of Camino Media, I think would be a value add to the project, and I'd like to see that included in the report. I will gladly be a tree hugger. On a 115-degree day, I'd rather be beneath a tree than in the middle of Camino Media. So with that, other than that, I think it's always great to see housing diversity, housing density, and kind of this last stretch of that part of town kind of infill. So with that, I'll ask for, Mr. Johnson, do you need any clarity on the trees?
No, I understand, and
Okay.
we have the clarification.
Okay, I'd be happy to talk about it for another 20 minutes if you'd like. But I think foregoing that, I will ask for a commissioner's motion on the project.
I'd like to ask one more question, Bill, real quick. Is this a sidewalk here or not a sidewalk in front of that property? Is that little gray area the sidewalk, or what are we looking at there? Is there a sidewalk across this parcel?
Mr. Coleman, there's sidewalk along Camino Media.
Right.
It'll go into an entryway, and then as you turn left or right, there's going to be a dual gate on those. And then what you see in the backdrop there, they're going to be very modern, two-story alley-loaded townhomes. And that area in the back adjacent to the street, it'll have a wall that'll be a combination of a stone and a steel kind of a look to match the homes. And that is actually the entrance into the units on that side. The other side is the alley-loaded side where you park and go into the unit. This side, or where you see those paseos going up to the center that are green, those are how you enter into the unit. So you'll be entering into the units that way. Does that answer the
Yeah, I
question?
just didn't, just at the last second, I go, I don't really see a sidewalk. Yeah, we're looking at a little plant, we can't really blow it up, so.
It's there, yes.
So there is a sidewalk along Camino Media. Okay,
Just to clarify, I think it's actually existing based on the photograph.
okay, okay.
If we could go to the photograph really fast. Yeah, you can
Okay,
see
all right,
that.
I'm sorry, all right. Yeah, there is a sidewalk. So that 10-foot setback for the landscaping is beyond that, beyond the sidewalk, correct?
Looks like it.
That's correct.
All right, thank you. So with that, I would make a motion to approve item 6C, Plan Development Review 21-0350 with the condition regarding attempting to preserve existing trees where possible. And I'll trust the staff to incorporate that language.
Yeah, yes, your motion would be then to approve Plan Development Review number 21-0350 as outlined in the staff report, subject to the recommended conditions. And those conditions, again, provide the necessary clarification to preserve the trees.
Okay.
And add 1 tree per 20 linear feet, provided there's no conflict.
Because that was the recommendation originally,
That's
was
staff's recommendation.
okay,
Yes.
to require
And the reason
trees.
that we are discussing this is because the applicant and our recommendation are not consistent. The applicant's request is not consistent with the
Right.
recommendation.
So we're going with you, but you're going with us.
That's correct.
All right.
And I believe
Let
that
the minutes show,
the
yeah.
property owner, or Mr. Tom D., I think he agrees, but he,
I understand all the comments about the trees out there. They were put in with the State Farm buildings back in the winds. There are a lot of diseased trees out there right now. They're falling down. We've maintained that property. We keep it, as clean as we can for a lot of reasons. To save the existing trees and to put high density all in the same box I don't know how that works. We are going to have a replacement program. There will be like trees put in. If there's trees that are in the driveway going up to the old State Farm building or CRC Plaza, of course, those will be saved. But when you're looking at street trees right now, and you have to grade the site, and you have to compact the soils, and you have to do everything that's required to do there, I mean, we'll certainly look at saving what we can, but I don't know how you have a tree in the middle of the project and build it. It's pretty impossible. We're more than willing to work mitigation out, to replace those trees at a certain value, and we do offer a lot of trees just with the project. But to save an existing one is going to be very difficult, so.
I think the motion really gives the planning director some authority over that. So if you have a specific issue, he'll work with you, and it doesn't have to come back to us. So we have full confidence in Mr. Johnson to resolve that as he needed, so.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so if there's any more, do I need to say any more? I'm happy to keep talking.
Yeah. So that was your motion, and I think the motion stopped maybe about a minute ago. Yeah. So Ms. King does not need to write the entire.
We just need a second.
Okay. Let me know.
I'll second.
Oh, Commissioner Lummis. Oh, I thought you said you needed a second to write it down. I'm sorry. I did not read that conversation. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Lummis, for a second. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Vice Chair Bashir Tash and Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 7, communications.
Mr. Johnson?
We will have a meeting on December 15th. I would appreciate if we will not have a quorum, or if you won't be available, if you could let me know so we can adjust accordingly. At that meeting, I would note that Christopher Boyle, Development Services Director, will be sitting in my seat. I'll be out of the office for some training that day.
Training? Is that? We might also be in training. Just kidding. All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 8, commission comments.
Does any commissioner have comments? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 9, adjournment.
This meeting is adjourned at 6:19.